If you agree, step forward. If you disagree, stay put. Nobody likes abortion.
That's an interesting question. I'm going to be honest. Like, and Jubilee phrases their stuff in a way to make it like, you could take it one way, you could take it another way, right? Like, oh my God, okay. These are the like pro-abortion, these are the anti-abortion. Like, you can just tell. Nobody likes abortions. What does that question mean? Like, nobody likes having to get one or whatever? Like, it's, what if the question was nobody likes taking the Plan B pill? Like, you know, you have sex, you don't use a condom, and, you know, you decide to get the Plan B pill. No one would bat an eye. They'd be like, no, that's fine. I don't care about getting the Plan B pill. I mean, abortions could be, more obtrusive, I suppose, but ultimately, like, it's just a medical procedure. So like any other one, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, no one wants to, like, get surgery. So no one's like, yeah, oh, I'm getting another abortion this week. This is awesome. I like this. That's stupid. What a dumb idea. And I don't even think the most brain dead fucking dumbass conservative thinks that. But yeah, I like that. Like, I like that abortion access, exists. Obviously in fewer places now. What is socialism? Let's get rid of that. That's for tomorrow. No, I like that people can get abortions, but like, this is something like younger me would have been like, oh, I'm pro-abortion, but like I'd never get one. It's so sad that it has to happen, but I get why it happens. No, it's like, no, I don't really care. Like, so I would probably stand, but like, say my point there were like, I like that you can get abortions. Like, I think that that's entirely like super important. When was this posted? November 21. So about a year ago. So 6-ish, 7-ish months before Roe was overturned. Dude, I wonder what these chicks are going to say. Are they going to be like, no, actually liberal women love abortions? Watch me be totally wrong and these guys are the or anti-abortion people.
I don't think anyone likes it. I think they use it, and they might use it incorrectly.
No, I was right. Like, he's coded. He is like hog coded. Look at him, dude. He is every fucking conservative.
From my perspective, but I don't think anyone likes an abortion. Like, they're not like jumping for joy for it.
I think it is a very physically taxing process to go through, and I don't think anyone would want to intentionally have an abortion. I think those who get an abortion, most of the time, it's because they need to.
It's a harmful narrative on both sides of the conversation to say that, women celebrate abortion. I think it creates a prejudice around women who do get abortions. And I don't think that it's good to kind of minimize the decision of abortion from either
She's Jewish.
side, from either perspective. So,
which, like, Judaism is like the one religion where abortion is like protected, right? And I think it is like actually protected in Judaism.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I think if you asked me this question maybe several years ago, I would have said nobody likes abortion. But I think in today's climate, it is much more celebrated as a pro-life person.
It should be celebrated. Like, not like, yay, you got the abortion. Just like, yay, you have the opportunity to get the abortion. This is another place where, like, no one celebrate. Like, it's hard for every woman to get an abortion. So, like, she's already presenting, like, an incorrect bad faith argument, which is quintessentially conservative.
I've had people tell me that they will dedicate their next abortion to me.
They're just being cheeky because you're a pro-life asshole. You're a pro-life piece of shit. And you're denying women a fundamental right, so someone's just being cheeky. That's all. You fucking dumbass.
Instead of helping women, they will have an abortion. I've heard...
Instead of helping women, they will have an abortion? Dude, the abortion is helping that woman. She doesn't have to go through childbirth. She doesn't have to raise another fucking human for the next 18 years. That's helping that person who's not ready to have that kid. Are you kidding me?
Very similar responses to you. Things like, I'll donate to Planned Parenthood in your name, and there's other...
Yeah, that stuff's sick. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know, you could call it live shit. Like, that's just like sticking it to you fucking dumbass pro-life idiots, dude.
There are pages like Shout Your Abortion that openly
shout your abortion without. Yeah, and I mean, I like that. I kind of understand too. Like, you should not feel shame or regret or sad. See, that's what it's saying here. You should not feel these emotions when you get an abortion. That is a problem. So, yeah, I guess like normalizing it, making it like that it's not a bad thing with something like this is good. Like I said, it shouldn't be treated any differently from like any other like contraceptive method. Like I no one's gonna shame you for like wearing a condom. You know what I mean?
celebrates abortion rights.
Yeah, I celebrate abortion, and I think that campaigns like Shout Your Abortion aren't about like getting in your face, but women who choose to have abortions suffer a lot of stigma and trauma from people who stand outside clinics and have grotesque images and literally, you know, damning your soul. Abortion as a medical procedure and resource is something that I do celebrate. It's a human right, and I love abortion.
Hell yeah, dude. That was an A+ fucking take.
My name is Rocky. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I am very pro-abortion. I think that legislation like SB 8 opens the door and the path.
SB 8 took effect on September 1st, 2021. It is the first time a state has successfully imposed a 6-week... Oh, yeah, I remember that, Ben, since Roe v. Wade. It doesn't fucking matter now, dude. Roe v. Wade is gone. But yeah, I remember, like, this was when they were first testing, one, what they could do, two, public perception, probably, on banning abortion. And, like, the right was like, they didn't push back hard enough, so we could probably just get rid of Roe. Which may have cost them in the 2022 election, though they did take this House. Senate is still a 50-50 majority now that Kyrsten Sinema's gone. But yeah.
Towards handing over our bodily autonomy to the state. I don't understand how anyone can justify using their personal beliefs to take away the rights of others.
Hell yeah, I love her already. She is going to be my favorite.
My name's Abby. I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I'm an abolitionist of human abortion. We have to ask the question of...
I am an abolitionist of human abortion? Dude, I can tell, like, I don't know. Something about her vibes. Something about the way she dresses screams like that Christian girl. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry if this is just, like, mean or off base, but, like, that's the vibe I get. Like, I grew up around these people, okay? I grew up in a pretty fucking right-wing area. I know this girl, and, like, the vibes are off. The vibes are off.
What makes humans valuable? So because my worldview as a Christian gives me a foundation for human worth, and because I believe scientifically fetuses are human beings from the moment of conception, I am against abortion.
Biological fathers should have an equal say.
Ooh, that's a good question. No. I think younger me, when I was more reactionary, would have said yes, because I was a dumbass and I was a reactionary. But yeah, it would have been something like, you know, oh, well, it's his kid too. It's equally his kid. It's 50% his kid. It's 50% her kid. Completely disregarding the, like, insane trauma that is pregnancy. And, like, that's everything. You know what I mean? So my answer right now would be no. Like, and that is, I can see the gray area here. And, like, if they get pregnant and the guy's like, no, I want to have it, I can see there being a discussion to be had. But ultimately, if the woman's like, no, I don't want to carry this to term, I don't want that to happen to my body, I absolutely think that's fundamentally her right. 1, 2, the guy, you want to have a kid, you can go easily have another kid with someone else, like 100%. So it is kind of in that same, like, there's nothing special about that particular fetus. You know what I mean? It's just a clump of cells. It's just it's nothing. It's next to meaningless, honestly. And I get that's hard to say. That's hard to grasp too. Which is why we face such an uphill battle when talking about, you know, being pro-abortion. But yeah, no, the answer to this is a very clear and obvious no.
in abortions?
This man said yes. He's never thought about this before. Wait, what's the question? Should have equal say? So, okay, let's rewind. Let's rewind. Okay. Now in this scenario, she says she wants to keep it, and he says, I don't want it. I think, one, I'm getting into territory where I'm clearly too dumb to have a fully fleshed out opinion. Okay. I don't want to hear other perspectives on this, and we will. Right now, oh my God, that's a tough question. Because, like, I mean, a man shouldn't have his say over a woman's uterus. I don't know. Maybe the answer is yes. I'm going to be honest. And the man says, I want you to have an abortion. I don't want this kid to come out. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe the other answer is you can keep it, but I'm not going to pay child support. Like, I maybe either of those might be the reasonable answer here. Let's see.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's consistency. Like, if we're defining that as a life, if it is a life to put a kid up for adoption, both parents have to.
Dude, fuck off. Like, the baby needs to get born. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe I'm just off base, but I feel like a lot of abortion conversations ignore the fact that the woman needs to, like, carry a baby to term, and, like, the insanity that, like, comes with that. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I agree. I have talked to lots of women who've had abortions, and I've talked to lots of men who are hurting. They're completely heartbroken. They would have raised the baby. They wanted to raise the baby.
Go have a baby with someone else then. Like, seriously. Like, someone will have a baby with you. If you're just desperate to have a baby, why does it have to be that baby? Like, that baby was a clump of cells. It wasn't a baby, okay? Go have a baby with someone else. Go impregnate someone else who wants to have a kid.
They begged for the life of the baby.
The life of the baby.
They obviously created the baby together, but only one of them gets to decide if their child.
This man is so conflicted. It's because Jubilee makes these questions in a way that, like, you have to be conflicted like this. You know what I mean?
Child gets to live or die.
I would like to say, from
hate-
more of a
I
honestly
hate
feminist
pro-life
perspective,
people.
Men have responsibility as the other parent of that child. Ironically enough, a lot of the times when pro-choice people put the focus completely on the woman, they strip the man of all his parental rights and responsibilities. And I think that's why actually a lot of men who are pro-choice because they don't want to have those fatherly responsibilities that they will have once.
Shut the fuck up. Look, what a dumb fucking
The
argument,
child is
dude.
born.
You left us, man. I want to know why.
It's a struggle.
I'm mad conflicted about this because I strongly feel like a man should not have control over what a woman does with her body. I more so have an issue with when a man doesn't actually want that baby. She wants it and then expects this man to like be the ultimate provider and child care and all this extra stuff, right? But in the case of if the man wanted it, the baby, and the woman didn't want it, he has no say so. I think that's a fucked up dynamic. So
Yeah, I was just talking about that just now. Like, it is a tough dynamic for sure.
that's why I was going back and forth.
Well, you should have stayed then. It sounds like you're for men having more rights.
I just can't force a woman to be like, no, you have to do this, because I think it's fucked up. It's her body.
But it's also a child's life in there.
He doesn't have a good argument now, so he has to go back to like forget opinion. He just went to forget opinions. Forget the man's opinion, forget the woman's opinion, forget the question. That is a child's life. That's what he went to. It's because he has no argument. You see this time and time again with conservatives. They run out of arguments because they don't have good arguments, period.
It's not just her body, it's a child's
And
life.
it's
And
also your son or daughter.
I think truly, in my eyes, it's,
Or
like
NB.
it's my body. I get to do what I want with it, and I don't think anyone, including the other person who's involved, should have a say whether I want to keep it or whether I want to get an abortion.
My name is Asher, currently reside in Las Vegas, and I'm for pro-abortion. I used to be against abortion until an unwanted pregnancy happened to me. If you know for a fact that you're not even gonna be the best parent for that child, or you can't provide for that child, or maybe you're just fearful and don't wanna pop a child out of you, or just whatever reason that you have, I feel like you shouldn't have to go through with that. You still have that choice over your life, your body.
I have had an abortion.
One of the men comes up.
A few months ago,
I guess a partner could have had one.
Found out that I was pregnant. When I imagined myself
only a few months
finding out I was pregnant for the first time, I wanted it to be celebrated. And in that moment, I felt such severe anxiety. And having that, I felt like the entire time I was just in a lot of emotional pain, grieving. I was debating about myself, about how I would be looked at or how I would view myself after getting the procedure done.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm nervous. So I'm gonna be real careful with my words. Clearly, as a man, I can't have an abortion. But my girlfriend, we've had 2 abortions. She didn't really want to have a baby. I didn't really want to have a baby. And I know for me, I don't want to be seen as that deadbeat father person, but I knew I wasn't really trying to sacrifice my own dreams or what I was trying to accomplish to be a dad at that point.
I think that's definitely like one of the biggest things to consider because I wasn't in any kind of position to be a mother, you know? So it's like, I want to get my shit together before I can have a baby and give it a life that it deserves. When I found out I was pregnant, the person that I was with at the time, they were like, I will support you in every way, but I will not be able to be there for you if you decide to keep it. And that definitely influenced my choice. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. I like to think I'm a pretty generous, loving person, and the names that I've been called for even getting one, I've gotten evil, psychotic, demented.
My name is Christine. I'm from Denver, and I am on the anti-abortion side. So when I was 20 years old, I was a college student, and I found myself in an unplanned pregnancy, and I was pressured to abort very heavily, not only by my child's father, but by those around me. And I heard my son's heartbeat, and there was no debate. It was a life. His life was not mine to take. This is part of why I am very pro-life, because I know many women are pressured to abort when they don't want to.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
Your story is absolutely powerful, and your story as well. I think something we probably all can agree on is abortion usually is a symptom of a bigger problem, whether it's finances, whether it's stability of housing, whether it's relationship issues. My perspective is that we address those issues instead of ending the life of a child.
Disagree. I don't think that abortion is a symptom. People should be able to access abortion when, how, wherever they want or need. I don't think that it's a problem to be fixed. I think that is still stigmatizing.
But I think the biggest thing is that there are birth control methods out there, and abortion should not be a birth control method. I think that's very critical. And to hear that, you weren't celebrated. I think life should be celebrated with everybody.
I'd like to call attention to that point too, just the fact of using abortion as birth control. I thank you for everyone sharing their stories so far. I didn't step forward, I haven't had an abortion myself, but I am a survivor of rape. I was on birth control at the time, and I still made the decision with my medical team that birth control is not 100% effective, and I wanted access to emergency contraceptive to take on top of that. And had that pregnancy or any of those methods failed, I would have chosen to have an abortion, and I'm very grateful that I had access to those resources, and I'm so mindful that there's so many women who don't.
Well, I think it gets down to the heart of the issue here. You know, what is the unborn? Which scientifically the embryo is from conception, a living whole organism with distinct DNA. As a Christian, I come from a worldview that says that every human being has dignity and worth.
Not to disrespect any religion in general, but in my
No, disrespect the religion. Yeah, do it, please.
my eyes, that's just pushing a belief onto someone rather than actually stating a real concrete fact.
So scientifically, I'm pro-life because of science, not because of religion. But scientifically, I believe that life does start at conception. I don't think it makes sense to put life beginning at any other place during pregnancy. Doing so usually ends up saying that an already born person isn't alive, such as consciousness, heartbeat, etc. There are many pro-life people here from the science perspective who are not led by religious motives at all or partially. I am Ayala, I am 18 years old, I am from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am anti-abortion. One misconception that I deal with pretty frequently is that we're all Christian, white, old men, and as a Jewish woman, younger, I really want more voices like mine to be seen in the anti-abortion movement because I think we have new perspectives that would help kind of bridge the gap and have us find a little bit of middle ground between our two opposing sides.
Abortion is murder.
Then why are you in the room with like murderers, dude? Like, get out of there. Like,
I think it is murder. I think
dumbasses, dude.
For the abortionist more so than the woman. I think a lot of women don't necessarily know exactly how an abortion procedure is formed. I've had a girl even tell me that at 20 weeks a baby is just a clump of cells, and that's just not true.
I do believe now there might be cases where some women might be unaware of what's going on in an abortion. But by and large, I think, especially with the advent of the internet and so much education out there, many of them do know that there's a life inside of them and they want to end that life, whether they call it murder or not.
Hard disagree. Absolutely disagree.
Okay.
I've definitely met a lot of teenage girls who grew up in our generation who believe that abortion is normal, a fetus is a clump of cells, and there is no human life in the womb. They don't tell you when you go in for an abortion consultation, this is a child and this is a human life, and then that's what's going to be happening. I have a hard time believing that if most women knew they were killing a child, they would do that. I don't think women in America are that malevolent. I think it's very irresponsible and very hurtful to say, oh, this woman's a murderer because she had an abortion.
At least my personal experience, the people who worked there were very understanding. They let me know there is a child that could come out of you in 9 months. Are you sure you want to do this? And I knew there was a child in my body. I knew I could have a child in 9 months, and I knew that that child can grow old and be their own person. But I made that choice because I am allowed to have that choice. And
this is something I say sometimes, like, when a baby is born, okay, fine. Can't touch it. When it's like, you're 3 months pregnant, I don't see much difference from that potential life versus just a woman's empty womb. Like, if you're so concerned about the potential, like the anti-abortion people, if they're so concerned about the potential of human life, why aren't all 3 of those women's wombs filled 24/7? What about the baby that could grow up to cure cancer or whatever that could currently exist in your belly right now? What about him or her? Where are they? They're not going to exist. You are like preemptively aborting them by not allowing them to exist. Okay? That's kind of what I mean. Like, you're so concerned about the potential of life. The potential of life exists right now in your belly. So go do it. If you're so concerned about that.
especially you are a white man, you are not allowed to say what I can do with my body, nor any of these other women who are.
Why you gotta be white?
able to carry a child.
I think that's so dangerous. I think that's so dangerous to say that you can't say because of your sexuality,
your
who you are as a male or
sexuality.
female, or how you believe as a religion, you can't define what's right and wrong. I think that's
I'm sorry if you're
misguided,
accent.
and we shouldn't take that into policy.
But
I think what she's
If it's a
saying is
child,
that
you should have
whatever
that right.
your morality is, I think that, you know, folks are entitled, that we have freedom of religion, we have freedom from religion. Whatever your moral value is, the issue is trying to turn that into legislation and putting it on someone else.
We legislate what's right and wrong all the time.
Thinking even medically, you know, like for Indigenous women, they're 2 times as likely to die from pregnancy-related complications. Who's responsible for that murder if she's forced to carry that baby?
Well, I would be all for working on legislation altogether where, you know, if the woman's been taken advantage of or if they've incest situation.
he can't say rape, dude. Say it. Fucking
or
weirdo.
if her life's at risk, we can keep those options on the table.
So all of a sudden, because she could potentially die, we'll make legislation where she can abort that baby, and all of a sudden you're pro-abortion?
No, I'm not pro-abortion. I personally would not like her to choose that option. I think science has
you'd
come.
prefer that she die, though, right?
I think science has come a long way where that's vastly not the case anymore within our medical community, and we need to continue to increase funding for those mechanisms to provide more research on how to keep the woman alive in those situations.
What is the end goal here, that abortion be illegal and it be criminalized and removed as a resource forever from this country? Is that the
Illegal and unthinkable.
illegal and unthinkable? So it is culturally.
Culturally, for women, we want women to have resources, first of all, to where they don't need an abortion, and then abortion for the abortionist is criminalized. So an abortionist could go to jail for performing it. Women should not be criminalized because at the end of the day, women are victims of abortion as well.
My name is Sebastian King, and I am anti-abortion side. My mom had an unplanned pregnancy because she was taken advantage of from the time she was 12
Dude,
to 15.
once
And she was in
again,
and
like
out-
what is this guy's like fear of saying raped? Like fucking right-wingers, dude.
out of state custody, and a judge even encouraged her to have an abortion and told my mom that she won't amount to anything in life if she goes through with this pregnancy. Because she chose life. That's the only reason I'm here today. And
Yeah, it's just like, okay, you're here. What about the person who won't be there because, again, all of those women's wombs are not currently filled? Like, we're so concerned about the potential of you or someone else, but we're ignoring, like, every empty womb. Like, it's not consistent, in my opinion.
that's my mission, is to ensure that all life is protected.
All life. Okay, what about the potential life that currently exists in every unpregnant woman's belly? Like, what about those lives? Like, every woman in these people's opinions should just be pregnant 24/7.
Abortion
be consistent.
should be accessible to rape and incest survivors.
Easy dub, even for these fucking dumbasses on the right. Anyone gonna budge? No, you could tell. They're so stupid. You're so stupid. Of course they're not gonna budge, you fucking
If you're pregnant
vile
from
pieces
your
of
brother or
shit.
your cousin or your father, especially if it wasn't consensual, or even if it was, you should
Well, it's still human. Oh,
still
fuck
have
off.
that option to abort the baby. And especially if you've been raped, there are some people who have that thought, like, oh my God, like, what if when I look at my child, I relive that trauma?
Just a reminder.
And not saying that's how all rape victims view it, but it's just like some women have that fear.
Am I just naive though? Like, why aren't more people talking about like the trauma that a woman has to experience going through pregnancy? Like, has anyone ever been around a pregnant woman before? Like, it's hard. Pregnancy is hard. Labor is hard. Not to mention post-birth, raising the kid. But in terms of like, yeah, you could give it up for adoption or whatever. So I'm mostly focusing on just like the immense, unthinkable trauma your body will go through when pregnant, and that you should be able to say, I don't want that to happen. Like, period.
Fear.
Like, I'm going to keep it a buck. If pregnancy was like, you know, the easiest thing and like no changes to your body, it's not painful, like you almost don't think about it, like, you know what I mean, like that, if there was no trauma to the woman whatsoever, and like you impregnate a woman, 9 months later, poof, a baby appears, like nothing changes in her life, then I might have more to say about abortion, because at that point, I don't know, you could give it up for adoption, I guess. But in this case, yeah, I could see, you know, incest, you know, could have medical issues. So in this case, it'd be a little bit different. But generally speaking, like, I don't know, maybe I guess for me, I put a lot of weight on, like, the trauma women have to go through physically. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I was raped for 4 years of my life, violently, more times than I can count. And I did get pregnant.
Holy shit. That is the most depressing thing I've ever heard. I am horribly sorry. Like, your views are shitty, but that's not even the point right now. Like, that is unthinkably sad. I hope this person's doing okay.
When I was 15, my rapist threatened me with abortion multiple times. Used that as a tool to keep me in his power. If he had the power to terminate evidence, he had power against me. I did end up losing her, but I wanted her very badly. I named her Rahel, which is Rachel in English. And I think it's very important to humanize people who are conceived in rape because they're walking around right now.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and I think it's very insulting to place that on a human being. I think that humans, no matter how they are conceived, are human beings, and they deserve to be respected.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, like, you should shoot a rape baby. That's such a fucked up term. A human being who's conceived out of rape or incest, like, in the head. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you should do that. But if a woman, does not want to give birth to her rapist or, like, in some fucked up incestuous situations, kid, that should absolutely be her right. The outside, again, this is, like, outside of, like, the trauma of her childbirth. If, like, I don't want to carry a rapist's baby to term, that is, like, the easiest dub, in my opinion. Like, this poor woman, her horrific, unthinkable trauma aside, is brain broken to think that she should have to carry that baby to term. Like, even to want that is a little bit, like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. I'll never be a woman. I'll never know exactly what they go through.
I agree 100%. And my
I did the, no,
mom
fucked up.
has always told me she doesn't view me as his, even on my birth
we
certificate.
have a fucking sexual assault, like, rape, product of rape here, so
He's not my father, so.
Also, I want to tap on what you said, though, because you said you really wanted to keep your daughter. And although you don't, see it as the rape baby and stuff, other people who also go through that traumatic experience may actually see it like that, right?
That's a good point. That's a good point, my dude.
But there's other people that...
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you want to carry that baby to term, that should be your right. I think ultimately, I guess there might not be a right or wrong here. I think generally speaking, probably the most, I don't know, you could call it ethical position here, in my opinion, would be to abort a baby from, a rape baby or whatever, but
had their a choice taken away from them. They shouldn't be shamed at going through this, and even having to live through that experience of the rape baby.
Here's the thing.
Okay. I said it before this guy, but rape baby is a term we have to retire. Like, we gotta come up with a better term than rape baby. I swear.
When you get an abortion as a reaction to rape, you are continuing the cycle of violence. So you were raped. That was a violent
poor
experience
fucking
that happened to you.
person,
It wasn't your
dude.
fault. You're hurt. You've been victimized.
Her brain is melted.
Why is it fair to further victimize someone else because you are hurt?
But
Why is it not?
Because the fucking clump of cells is not someone else, okay? That's why.
Seen it as a someone, though, man. I'm putting
Yeah,
myself
let's go,
in a
dude.
woman's
I'm with
shoes,
you.
or a human being's shoes, right? You take my choice away. You rape me, and for all you know, I might be a struggling human being, right? Making $8 an hour or something like that. Crazy bills. I might be living in my car. I might be sleeping in the dumpster behind McDonald's. But now, because of your opinion, right, and my traumatic experience, I get shamed because I don't want to bring this life into the world, bro. Oh, but you should give birth and then put it in foster care if you don't want it, bro.
I want to touch on that too, just for a second. Like, for trauma, I think absolutely what I am passionate about is giving people the choice. And for you, you thought a lot about your choice and you wanted that pregnancy. And I'm really sorry that you lost that child. And I also thought a lot about, for myself, when I went through that experience, what choice would be best for me. And for me, that was not carrying the child. And I think trauma is such an interesting thing. For me, not having control over a child growing inside of me and changing my fate of my life, that would be more traumatic than the initial experience. We don't know how people are going to react, but I do fight and would want them to have the choice to do what's best for them. I think a strange misconception that people have about people who are pro-abortion is that we don't have respect for life or we don't care about children. That's absolutely not true. I respect life very much. Unfortunately, I've also seen a lot of negative aspects of our systems in the US, like the foster care system. It's out of that respect that I believe people should have the right to choose an abortion.
America offers resources to help you raise a child.
Come on, dude. These fucking dumbass hogs.
There's tax benefits to having children. I think there was also, in the latest round of COVID money, there was funding for women who've had children.
Yeah, and there are so many Christian charities and so many different organizations that want to help women, and the resources are there.
Also, government resources. There are government resources that help you take care of children.
They're gonna point to like the tiny, tiny, minuscule little things the United States government offers. Like, it is not comprehensive enough to be a factor in deciding whether to raise a kid or not. You know what I mean?
Are there enough? That is a different question.
I was basically just agreeing with what you said, because Section 8, food stamps, free health care.
It's not enough, dude. It's the only OECD country without nationwide statutory. It's so fucking stupid, dude.
Programs and whatnot.
It's
like,
crazy.
Are there enough?
That's how my
It's
mom.
crazy how you can be so brain broken to hear this question and then go sit down and think you're going to provide like something valuable the U.S. government provides to like people trying to raise children. That's insane, dude. That is insane. It is clear evidence of how powerful propaganda can be. That's for damn sure.
Survived when she had me because of government assistance. So
Yeah.
that's the only way she made it, because of that.
I have been a pregnant teenager, and I've also been a teenage mother on welfare and unemployed.
Yeah, it's not
The number
enough, dude.
of
It's not
resources
enough.
that are available state to state is something that is atrocious.
Especially state to state. Yeah, like my state of Washington does have some amount of like parental leave, which is good. But for the most part, they don't have anything.
But what it comes down to is a lot of time and energy. The choice between, do I go to work and get the money to pay rent, or do I go and I sit in the office, or do I go to this nonprofit who's requiring me to fill out this application and come to a meeting in the daytime when I'm supposed to be working?
So you see it kind of like a job, like you're clocking in to fill in paperwork and you're receiving your check.
It is. Low resources and creating these sort of impossible hurdles and more barriers for people who are already experienced them to overcome to get the help is not a help at all.
And I feel like a completely separate conversation is it is extremely hard to be a single mother who is also a woman or person of color and to get resources. Especially Black women, they are notoriously, even in that room where they're giving birth, they aren't taken seriously.
Well, I just want to say one thing because I think it's important. So I might not look it, but I'm Native American, have my Cherokee card and everything. We have universal health care in the Indian community. And when she went to have me as a child, they told her in that universal health care system that she's not allowed to have pain medicine because that's a luxury. So she got it through government assistance. So that's a big deal that the United States is more for than the Native American community.
That is
I'm glad we're discussing.
No, I'm not saying that's acceptable. I'm not saying that's acceptable, but I'm saying like
It exists.
it exists. That story exists.
But there are literal reservations out there that do not have water, do not have electricity, do not have internet. That is in 2021. Are those not resources to raise a child?
So let's
Why
address
is the government
that
not
instead of killing the
that
baby.
To say that
That's
the
right.
government. The
Let's
question
address
was,
that.
does
That's
the
what I'm
government
saying.
provide resources? No. Does America provide resources? No. That's unacceptable.
Abortions will continue to happen regardless of the law.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say, even these fucking like dumbasses have to agree that like that's just reality, which how can you, I don't know, like the cognitive dissonance, the like complete like dumbassery required to like accept that, but then also like be against it just being legal. It's kind of like the war on drugs. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna do it anyway. So, like, what are we fucking doing?
All right, well.
That ain't never gonna change.
I think, of course, they'll continue to happen. A law doesn't mean that something is not going to happen at all anymore, just like rape, just like murder, just like anything else we've outlawed. Just because they're still going to happen doesn't make it right.
But if you criminalize doctors and abortion providers, right, that means we no longer have providers. That means abortion is no longer an option. And that by default, the way that this country, and especially my state, legislates will mean, and it has happened, we have precedent, a woman who tries to self-induce or who tries other non-medical methods to have an abortion can and has been criminalized. What is the policy that doesn't just absolutely take away the right that people have to access an abortion, regardless of what their beliefs are?
If that child is a human being deserving of the right to life, then yes, it should be criminalized, just like...
This is the craziest person, dude. They pulled the craziest, like, Fundy off the street in Abby.
Murder of 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and adults is criminalized, right?
But that's so different, though. You got people that's 2 years old, already out the womb. They've been here for years.
Come on, yeah, someone should be like, the trauma of having to carry a child matters, like, to some degree, right? It has to.
Right, and then you got these cells.
Can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
When does it stop being a clump of cells?
Personally, I'm not worried about the clump of cells.
Decades of medical research has not been able to land on that answer.
And I'm trying to answer.
Fuck off, dude. You smug piece of shit. She thinks she owned them. Like, oh, got him, dude. What a good argument that no one's ever thought of.
As far as
do you believe that abortion should be allowed all 9 months of pregnancy?
I do feel that's a bit more extreme. So
it's just like, yeah, like, there are maybe some conversations worth having here. But, like, the idea of blanket bans is nuts.
So I will agree on that aspect.
But why is it more extreme?
Wait, but let's not act like women are just deciding to get abortions at like during their 2nd or 3rd trimester.
Yeah, bro, look at this. In 2019, women in their 20s accounted for the majority of abortions. The majority of abortions in 2019 took place in early gestation. 93% of abortions were within the first 13 weeks. A smaller number were at 14 to 20. And only 1% were at 21 or more weeks. Which, that's what? How many weeks is an average? 40 weeks, I think, right? How many weeks is a pregnancy? 40 weeks. Yeah, only 1% happened after the, 21 weeks here. That's an insane thing to bring up then. And the crazier part about this that they're not even going to fucking talk about is that this final 7.2%, the overwhelming majority of people who get abortions here don't want to get the abortion. It's because of medical issues. So, like, yeah, these first 13 weeks, yeah, it is a clump of cells. After that, no one's getting abortions, okay? The overwhelming majority of cases. So these people are arguing over, like, edge cases that don't exist. Unfortunately, they don't have these statistics here, like, on hand, which is unfortunate. But none of these pro-abortion people came even remotely prepared.
And the women who are doing it, it's either that they're going to die giving birth, or it's under some medical circumstances.
She got it right.
I doubt, even myself, I doubt that I would get to a 6-month, 7-month mark. And then decide, I don't want to make this commitment. I feel like there's a lot of this conversation, like, when does it become wrong?
Because at that point, when the stuff I was talking about like the trauma of labor, by 6-7 months, you're already, like, pretty far along. Like, I don't know. I'm just messing around.
So as if we're actually going to get an abortion at that time.
A lot of the, what pro-life people would consider hostile pro-choice comments and things like that are a response to hostile pro-life people. And I think that doesn't get talked about on our side because we don't like to fight each other. But I think it's an important point because I've seen absolutely disgraceful comments made towards women who are going into clinics, who are obviously in a very traumatizing situation, and you don't know what that woman is going through, and they're shouting obscenities at her. And that's appalling. And I think that we need to take responsibility as pro-life people to understand they've experienced so much hurt from our side of the community.
And I agree with that, I think. But from our side of the aisle, folks are very passionate because they believe that's a life, they believe that's a baby, and they want to do everything they can to save that child. But I agree that our rhetoric needs to be there as a resource and another option, and we can do that peacefully and respectfully as well.
I think on any side of any controversial issue, you're always going to have those extremists. Same thing on the pro-abortion side. People are always going to have feelings, and people are always going to fight on that level, right? But I think it's about coming up here and saying, like, what actually makes common sense, and how do we come up with policy that doesn't force folks to live by other people's values.